Hello and welcome to the OMFL Jacksonville Jaguar review. I am your host, Mike Fleury. As I said last episode, this is a re-record, the second of three. The last episode went almost smoothly, minus a small glitch somewhere in the middle where I found that I was speaking and then suddenly the audio skipped like 2 minutes ahead. So it was kind of like I was saying, well, it sucks. I got to re-record 3 episodes and Titman for a first and a second round pick. And it's just like, you know what I mean? It just went right to the later on. So I had to re-record a re-record and do an insert to kind of finish one thought and start the other one and then insert that in. But other than that, it seemed to go pretty smoothly. I'm going to work on some of the details, some of the screenshots, how I implement them. The Grown Folks YouTube page, so I guess Nate made some suggestions. I appreciate that. OBS is something I've considered. Same with just streaming these live. The issue is 2 things. One, if I have mic issues, doing them live will just make it so that I can't fix anything. So it's part of the reason I've changed how I'm editing them is so that I can fix the audio issues for now until maybe I can get a different kind of mic. I know the standalone mics, like the stand-up ones that some people use, are great, but I don't have room for that in my setup right now, even if I wanted to change. So I'm using the headset mic from my headphones, doing it live, and OBS to like put in the intros and stuff automatically, and doing it all the way I was doing it before. It doesn't seem like it'll be feasible. And if I'm being honest with myself and you guys, I don't think I'm really ready to do a live show. Being able to have the option to edit the stupid things that come out of my mouth sometimes, it's been kind of a comfort to this point, and I'm not sure I'm ready to be on camera while people watch and kind of be unfiltered, and I don't think I'm ready for that just yet. So I appreciate the suggestion. I'm going to keep it in the back of my mind for later down the road, maybe next Madden, when I've gotten a little more comfortable. I have a couple seasons under my belt. But for now, I think I'm going to try to experiment and refine this new way of doing things, and maybe I can come up with something interesting and a little different, and we'll see how it goes. So, in this episode, we are going to discuss weeks, I believe 7 and 8. Those are the Colts and Houston Texans games. Colts game is going to be really quick because it was a CPU game where the Colts starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson, had been hurt the game before, which was also a CPU game. He was out of town, and he didn't get a chance to really fix his depth chart, so they had the kicker playing. Like, what do you do? What can I... every time they tried to hand the ball off, there was a fumble. So 6 fumbles. Well, no, 4 fumbles and then 2 from just hitting Matt Gay. I tried different plays from my playbook. I was testing things. It's a nothing game. I won by a lot. Final score 37-3. He had, or he, they had, the CPU had 97 total offensive yards. It wasn't a game. There, it wasn't a game. He had 5 turnovers. He threw a bunch of interceptions. There's nothing to talk about. I didn't really play to play. I played to test things, and that was the entire game. Brian Thomas Jr. had 168 yards. I was just throwing the ball up to him, and trying to get him as much catches and like XP and whatever as I could. It was only 6 catches for 168, but I wasn't really trying to throw the ball too much. I threw the ball 19 times. I took 5 sacks in this game. This was my last game before I got Olu Fashanu and Tittman. I got 5 sacks against the CPU. I was really glad that I had already made that trade. We weren't able to get it processed in time. It had 4 votes. Couldn't get the 5th vote in time before the Jets had to play, so I had to play this game without the players. And boy, did it show. Our blocking was terrible against CPU defenders. I can only imagine how bad it would have been had the Colts actually been here. Anyways, I spent 3 minutes talking about a CPU game. Let's move on. Next game was the Houston Texans. This was an instant classic. Went to overtime. It was a great game, back and forth. Justin Fields played really well, 241 yards and a touchdown. Stroud was pretty good, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. I really thought I had kind of locked this game away. But unfortunately, my run game couldn't close it out. I had a good game running the ball for this, probably my first good game of the season. Running the ball, I had about 169 yards on 26 carries. It was going really well. I just couldn't get the last one to close it out. The last couple yards I needed at the end gave him a chance to drive downfield. Rashad Bateman was a madman. DeMarco was DeMarco. As much as we tried and as much as we really tried to keep him off from getting a deep play, he did manage to get one. And it didn't go for a touchdown, but it led to a later touchdown. He's just so hard to stop. He's 99 overall, 99 speed, 99 everything else. It's just impossible. And when you think you have him down, Rashad Bateman was killing me. 146 yards on 10 catches. It was a really tough game. Had a couple good, I think, user interceptions were both of them. Both of them were user interceptions with Lloyd and Savage. Lloyd, he just threw the ball right at me. I was really lucky he didn't see me. He was looking at, I believe it was like a deep in, and he threw it. I guess he made up his mind. I totally understand. I do that all the time. And he threw the ball right at me. Perfect. I was a little concerned going into overtime. I was starting to not be able to slow his offense down. He was starting to get traction. And I got the ball first, but I couldn't get a touchdown. I kicked a field goal. But I realized that this game has a problem with overtime in that it only does one. So if you have the ball first and you can run most of the clock out, kick a field goal, and they're going to have almost no time for a drive, it's complete garbage. But you got to play the game the way to play the game, and I'm a run-first team anyways, so I took most of the clock with me to get my field goal, which led to him kind of having to rush and maybe throw deeper than he would have needed to otherwise. Now, he is a deep passing guy, and I don't think this play was him trying to get it all in one. I think he might have called this play regardless of how much time, because it's a deep ball to DeMarco, and he throws all of those intentionally as far as I'm concerned. So he put a ball up. I happened to be using the free safety at the time because I was concerned with with exactly what was about to happen. I read the play, I came down on it, interception, end of the game, we win. Uh, Thank God, because I really needed this win to kind of right my season a little bit. This made me what 4-4 at the time. Just having a really rough season with consistency. Something I'll talk about next episode. Um, but we got the win in this one. Move on to the next one. Mason Smith, 4 tackles, 3 for loss, and a sack. Really good game for him. Receiving, Brian Thomas Jr., 132 on 6. The problem I had here is Colin Fredrickson. It will say in his statistics on Neon Sports that he has 4 drops this season. 1, it feels like more, but 2, this is the game I started noticing the drops a little bit more. He had one in this game, I believe, when I needed him to kind of to close out the game, and he gets the ball in his hand and he gets hit and it falls out, and it's like if he makes that catch, I can take more clock. I got a chance to win the game. He does the same thing in the next 2 games, basically, that he has at least 1, if not 2, drops in the next in per game in the next 2 games. It's starting to become a bit of a problem, considering he's my 94 overall receiver. I need him to catch these balls. So this was the first game where I noticed it, and it kind of drove me up the wall a bit. Michael Mayer had 50 yards, which is great for him. I don't get the tight end the ball enough. I say it all the time. But the real story of this game, as I said, was the running game. 102 yards for ETN. First good game he's had. This is the first game with my new offensive line. It was enough to make me excited. Be like, all right, maybe we figured this out. Spoiler, it didn't go as well the next 2 games. But we'll talk about those in the next episode. I'll probably record those a little bit later on. It's getting a little late in the morning for me and I need to sleep. So, this was a relatively short episode because one of the games was a CPU game and nobody wants to talk about that. So, for the OMFL Jacksonville Jaguars review, I am Mike Fleury, and as always, I will try to do better next time.